Welcome to Unlayered, the show where we explore next generation blockchains. I'm your host, Saul, and today it's just me, and I'm talking with Greg from Tiplink. Greg leads growth and marketing at Tiplink. And for those who are not familiar, Tiplink is a digital wallet that makes distributing digital assets as simple as clicking a link. And they recently unveiled a new iteration of their product, which has captivated crypto Twitter. So we're super excited to talk about this, super excited to talk about the world of embedded wallets. Greg, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Sal. Super excited to chat. We've been working on a ton of stuff for the past year and a half or so, and it was really nice to finally launch it all, see it well received. It's always a bit nerve-wracking going into a massive launch, especially when you've been a bit quiet about it, just plugging away, really focused on the product. We obviously had a handful of people testing it, but it's a bit nerve-wracking to see how it's going to be recepted on the timeline, but it went great. Product's doing well, so happy to chat about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I guess, what's the reception been, and were there any kind of new insights after getting it out there that you've learned from the market in terms of what people like, what resonates with them, how they're using it? And maybe before we even do that, let's maybe do a high level overview of what exactly we're talking about in terms of the product.
Yeah, 100%. So recently at Tiplink, we actually launched two products. We'll focus more on the Tiplink wallet adapter. To start, Tiplink wallet adapter is a package that plugs into the Solana wallet adapter, making it super easy for existing Solana web apps and soon mobile apps to create a login with Google button via the Tiplink wallet. So for the longest time, Tiplink just allowed people to spin up a wallet via Google, send tokens, NFTs, on and off ramp them. But we would always get questions from people, hey, can I use this wallet on dApp XYZ? And so this is where we were getting a bunch of feedback from the market. While we're super focused on payments, it became very apparent that this was an issue that not only users were asking us for, but also dApps, the onboarding process of they maybe acquire a user for a first time, they land on their website, and then they have to point them to a blog on how to get started with a wallet, how to fund it. It seems very counterintuitive. So that's where the wallet adapter product came from. There wasn't any holistic solutions for this on Solana. And then the second product we launched was Tiplink Pro. And pretty much what this does is allows you to create and distribute Tiplinks at scale. So for people who aren't aware, Tiplink is a ephemeral wallet. So you can spin up a wallet. The wallet is a link. So I can put $5 on there. I can put some tokens on there, NFTs, and then I can actually send this link to someone over iMessage, over DMs, etc., and they can log in and claim it with Google. So we have these two really neat top of the funnels where someone can land on a dApp and just log in with Google, or you can actually meet the user or the recipient where they're at by just sending them this wallet over a channel where they can then log in and claim it, and it'll set up a wallet for them.
Awesome. Can you help me understand, how does the wallet work on the back end? So obviously it's really simple. You use the sign up with Google button, and some magic happens as far as what the user experience is, and now they have a wallet that they can use, and now that they can use in other dApps. What makes it secure and different from, I guess, some of these other wallet providers out there, like Privy, Dynamic come to mind, that also have this social auth-based flow?
Yeah, so we specifically made the decision of building on the Taurus network. If you're familiar with them, they are built by Web3 Auth. That's what Web3 Auth is built on. And so we built very low level on the Taurus network itself. For those who aren't aware, it's a open source key management protocol, and they pretty much handle the key generation, storage, and retrieval. And so the main high level crude generalization of what this network does is there are a handful of nodes that are Byzantine fault tolerant. So the nodes can't collude against each other themselves, classic blockchain fundamentals there. So the idea is if you split the key across these different nodes, no one node can be malicious and exploit the wallet. But then when you hit the network with, in our case, the Google OAuth provider, it then retrieves all the key shards from the nodes and then reconstructs it locally on the client side. So only you have access to the keys on your front end. And so that's explicitly what we use there. Same thing as Web3 auth. It's been very great so far. And it also buys us the assurance of having self-custody. We don't know the private keys, nor does the dApp that the user is interacting with. So still preserving that while fundamentally fixing what we think is like a broken UX of wallet onboarding.
Does the Taurus networks, I haven't spent too much time looking at that particular set of like primitives enabled by it, but is it chain agnostic, or is it for Solana specifically?
Yeah, it's chain agnostic. So I don't know the exact low level of the Taurus network. It is its own network. And then you can have a key pair on multiple chains. So like Web3 auth, I think supports almost every EVM chain and also Solana. Part of the reason why we built this is because there wasn't like a great Solana rendition of this. Even Web3 auth, it's hard for them to keep up with token standards. There's like a new token standard every month on Solana that you get builders asking for. So that's something that we see as really unique to us, that we're really focused on catering to Solana builders. But yeah, the Taurus network does have support for, I would say, nearly every chain.
Gotcha. Super cool. It's something I'll want to dig into. What's been, I guess, the strategy for you guys on the growth and marketing front with respect to Tiplink?
Yeah. A big thing is solving the pain point for interesting projects of onboarding users. We aren't looking to launch a token, so we don't get those growth hacks of, hey, do all of these quests, all of these farming, I would say nonsense, but there's a lot of value to it. As a marketer, I'm actually envious of teams who launch tokens. But our strategy here is building tools that make it easier for other interesting projects to onboard. So groups like the Super Team are using us at their IRL events, and they use our Tiplink Pro tool that pretty much allows them to spin up hundreds to thousands of wallets every month for people attending these IRL events. So there's flavors of that. There's also like fun NFT projects like the Chads who have used us. A lot of just distribution and onboarding tools for projects that feel like they have a brand or a product that can reach an end consumer. So our strategy, just to reiterate there, build simple tools for onboarding and then leverage other companies in the space who have good marketing as well and are looking to onboard people.
How do you guys position Tiplink, at least from a consumer standpoint? Like, is this supposed to be the wallet that they do most of their transactions in? You have like Fuse, for instance, which they're positioning themselves as more of a savings account. You have like kind of your traditional players, like a Phantom wallet that I guess is more mobile optimized, and they obviously have the Chrome extension. How do you guys see yourselves slotting into this competitive landscape?
Yeah, we see the Tiplink wallet as probably one of the best wallets for new users. If you're an existing crypto user, you probably have a solution that works for you. I would also say we think of the Tiplink wallet as an incredibly hot wallet, right? It's hooked up to your Google login and you're connecting to tons of dApps. It can be used across dApps, so that's something you should be cognizant of. We will in the future, as we see balances start to rise, build out solutions like 2FA or even a Vault product. We're really big fans of what the Squads team is doing on their end. So looking into some of the tooling they have, etc. But currently really just focused on how do we make this incredibly easy for users who are crypto curious, who have never touched a wallet. You can get started in under a minute instead of closer to like 3 to 5 minutes with downloading an app, Chrome extension, etc. Um, yeah, that would be the answer there.
I see. Yeah, super interesting. Wallets is something I'm trying to get a better sense of how things will, I guess, settle over time. Where, like to your point, you have a lot of existing users, existing solutions. You have what I think will be an increasingly large cohort of new users coming in. You have different styles and security levels for different wallets, cold wallets, hot wallets, some that are kind of in between. You have this emergent class of embedded wallets that use things like MPC. Obviously Tiplink, which uses Torus network and social auth. And then the other wrinkle in all of this is now you have applications that are giving users wallets. They're making wallets for them. Specifically, whether it's Telegram bots, whether it's things like Photon, and people are resonating with that as well. So how do you see 10 years from now, the wallet landscape settling? Do you think people are going to be using like a dozen wallets, or do you think we're going to sort of converge around some sort of design pattern here?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think one of our theses or how we built the Tiplink wallet is there's a ton of power in your wallet being composable. You lose a lot of the open internet or global computer composability narratives when you start to have these embedded wallets that are siloed. And I think this is a common thought across a handful of like wallet providers and even people who are building dApps, where you get in these scenarios where you realize, oh shoot, this team or company actually built an incredible product that I want to leverage. And one of the best ways to do this is having a wallet that can be used cross dApp. So I think that's one of the things that we feel pretty strongly about. Also, at the same time, there are some dApps apps that make more sense with an embedded wallet. So I don't think that holds up in all cases. But yeah, it's not really clear to me what that'll look like in the future. I think it changes day by day, but a big bet we have is that like composable wallets will be really important as more interesting dApps start to surface.
For sure. Help me or tell me a bit about Tiplink, the team, the makeup, how big you guys are, and what is kind of next from a team standpoint. Is it more hiring? Is it more kind of a push on the growth side? How are you guys thinking about all that?
Yeah. So the Tiplink team was founded by Ashik and Ian. They both worked at Citadel and traditional finance prior to this. We raised from people like Sequoia, Multicoin, Circle, Paxos. There are 9 of us on the team. A handful of people, some ex Snapchat, Google, Facebook, some people native to the Solana ecosystem as well. And in general, we're obviously pushing for growth now that we have this product suite. I like to call it the V1 product suite. So pushing for a lot of growth on that front, actively hiring as well as we continue to scale. There's just more fires to deal with. And we're in a stage where, okay, there's a handful of polish items we need to do, but there's also unlimited new features that you can always ship. So balancing that is tough. And then hiring starts to solve that. And yeah, that's where the team's at. Super solid team. Most of us work in person. So that's a really fun dynamic that I think is a bit less common today, actively hiring. And yeah, really looking forward to growth now that we have like this complete product suite. We're starting to see how these things come together. And then I think in the future, one of our really big focuses is payments and B2B payments, and then also global remittances. So doing a massive sprint of having a really nice and unified on-ramp UX that works globally. We think there's like a couple markets that have like really interesting stablecoin payment use cases, like global remittances there. And you're seeing this a lot. Like I think there's a few startups on Solana, such as Sphere and Decaf, that are interested in LATAM payments. And I think that's a really underexplored space. So we'll be spending a lot more time on that front, really interested in the payments side as well.
Yeah, let's actually dig into that a little bit. That seems like it was the first area of focus for Tiplink, and that's kind of how I got familiar with the company maybe a year ago or so. What's your view on how payments, like the current state of payments in crypto, and I guess where you guys want to wedge yourselves and start to grow the product on that side?
Yeah, it's come a decent way in the past year and a half. Part of the reason we built the wallet adapter is we were just looking at a lot of the on and off ramp providers, and their timelines were a year or 2 years until they were building and releasing their products. And we're faced with the decision. The on and off ramp space is pretty competitive at the moment. And did we want to go closer to the metal and start building on that front? Or did we want all of these people who were building really good products to go live with them? People like PayPal, Mezzo, CoinFlow, etc. And so we built more growth tools in the meantime, thinking about, okay, eventually if we can acquire users, these users will want to use payment products. And now we're starting to see the proliferation of these on and off ramps. And I think we just think about it as a digital wallet. Like Tiplink's goal was making it super easy to send money globally. The founders, Ian and Ashik, had a handful of side projects, kind of just like Web2 social type products, and they wanted to pay people out. And they had the hardest time ever. What's your Venmo? What's your PayPal? Going back and forth. And so Tiplink uniquely solved that problem. So I think looking at the payment space in that way, where are exchange rates or flows of money that are inefficient? Can crypto and stablecoins solve this? Looking at those sorts of angles and then coupling that with, okay, how easy is it to send money? And then I think part of this thing is a broader thesis on Solana and crypto as a whole, that you're probably going to want to send money easily, but there will also probably be interesting apps you want to use. And so eventually those will meet and be a Cambrian explosion, is a bit of my thought there.
But so you mentioned the on and off ramps. That still seems like it's kind of a pain point and a challenge, especially depending on what like jurisdiction or geography you're in and what specific laws apply to all that. Um, do you guys think, like, have you guys, I guess, decided to focus more on perhaps, just like the infrastructure around accepting payments, sending payments, and think that that will kind of resolve over time? Or do you have a view on how like we can improve? Because I think that's a major pain point for especially emerging markets, just getting into crypto and out of crypto if they want. It's hard to go from just zero straight into like a stable coin, for instance.
Yeah. So currently we're leveraging on and off ramp providers. There is a world where we get closer to the metal. I think right now we're just really focused on the UX side of things and bandwidth. And it's also just a lot of work to go into the licensing and all of the on ramp
Right.
legalities and regulations there. So our current bet here is that some of these on and off ramp providers, you could actually find efficiencies, and they can be on par with traditional ways of sending money globally. Obviously, we're not live with a product like that yet, but we hope to be in the next handful of months. But yeah, I definitely agree. There's like a ton of issues there. The nice thing is there's a lot of different teams working on this, even more regional teams. There's people in Nigeria and India, which are really interesting regions that are more on the ground solving these problems. And I think there's an argument to make there that companies local to these regions will likely have an edge in licensing and understanding the market better. So we're looking to implement their solutions in the near future.
Awesome. And how about we now talk a bit about what's next in terms of the product roadmap, areas of focus? I noticed like some things I noticed about the Tiplink wallet today is I think you guys are compatible with Blinks, which is pretty cool. So it seems like you guys are really close to like the frontier of what's happening on Solana. Well, actually, maybe let's just stick with that for now. What's your view on the Blinks primitive, and what role Tiplink can play in potentially enabling new merchant behaviors with that?
Yeah, I think the Blinks primitive is incredible. It's nice to see the standard for what was originally Solana Pay transaction requests evolve into Blinks. I was not technically involved, but on the marketing side and the ops side of some of the early Solana Pay demos through Mountain Pay. So we were doing things that were not payments using Solana Pay, like NFT mints or minting images from a photo booth. So this was like a really cool natural extension of that. The one caveat with Blinks is it's just a really small market it's targeting. You have to have a Chrome extension and you have to be on Twitter web. And from like our latest keynote announcement, I think the stats are pretty insane. Like 5 to 10% of the views were on web. So I think it's a
Oh, wow.
fairly niche market it's targeting, but the UX for it is incredible. Where I think Tiplink plays a really nice role here is making this work well in the world where you don't have a Chrome extension or you're on mobile. And so we're not going to be able to re-render the Twitter UI because that's done through the extension itself. But when you click into this link, making it easy to just log in with Google and not even leave the Twitter web app browser and start signing transactions directly in the Twitter in-app browser, or B, making it easy for people to kick out into Phantom. So that's what we did in our Blink. We made it super easy for people to kick out to Phantom. I think a handful of other teams also do that as well. But I think uniquely, even on Dialect's interstitial site, if you go to it, really the only thing you see is Google via Tiplink, because mobile in-app browser support in Twitter is just not great for apps, wallet apps. So I think we feel like a nice unique hole there. Not exactly the Blink of like re-rendering the Twitter UI, but making it easy for people to click into these things and use them for the first time.
Absolutely. And that's a cool insight. So you said about 10% or so of your views came from desktop, which seems to indicate mobile is all that matters in a lot of ways. What is your guys' outlook and strategy for improving crypto's experience on mobile, which has always been really challenging for a lot of reasons? You have app store restrictions. It's a bit difficult for different mobile apps to communicate with each other in a seamless way. Have you guys thought deeply about this and have kind of ideas on the roadmap front to attack mobile?
Yeah, I think starting off, we chose to be a web app, which has its trade-offs on mobile. It makes the onboarding incredibly easy. Inherently, your UX is a tad less smooth. Like, I don't know if you've ever used the Instagram web app. It's a bit painful.
Yeah.
So we made that trade-off there, but that also allowed us to not have to fight with the App Store. We can ship really quickly, and it makes our top of funnel great. We also are launching our wallet adapter for mobile apps. So I think that'll be really neat of not having to bounce in and out of mobile apps there. So that's something we've thought about. And I think we're constantly thinking about mobile. Specifically, we will probably build a mobile app at some point. It's not anywhere slotted into any sprints, but we're aware at some point it'll be good for retention. It's just a smoother experience. Having real estate on a phone screen is kind of mandatory, it feels like, in this day and age. I will say we've thought a lot about what happens when a DApp posts their website in Twitter, because this is probably where most crypto users are coming from currently. This may change, but if I'm a Solana DApp and I post my website in Twitter, this is kind of the same exact thing of the Blinks thing. I click it, it opens in my Twitter in-app browser. a lot of dApps don't set up deep links properly. Um, and so you don't see any wallet options. It's not incredibly hard. Like I think most of the tier one dApps set up deep links properly, but then what happens if this user doesn't have a wallet? The UX breaks down dramatically. Like you click the wallet, it takes you to some website, and then in my mind, all hope is lost of retaining this user. Like now they need to download another app, go back and find your link, etc. And so on our front, we thought about that. Users should be able to click in, see a Google button to log in, and then it should be clear to them if they have no funds that they can on-ramp directly in the dApp. So that's something we're launching soon. We'll have a wallet widget where one of the pitfalls with our wallet adapter is to view the wallet, you have to go to tiplink.io, but we've actually built a widget that can be dragged, embedded on the site. And so you can click into that, on-ramp through it, view your tokens, swap. So I think that's how we're currently thinking about mobile, and then have some thoughts down the road of what a mobile app would look like, but probably just not exactly the right time as we're focused on top of funnel growth.
Gotcha. And this is cool. So the widget would be kind of like an iOS widget, you're saying, that would enable you to do these actions without a
To some
mobile app.
degree, it's embedded directly in the website.
Oh, I
So
see.
it's not like native
Okay.
on the mobile. It kind of feels a little bit like the iPhone accessibility dot. I don't know if you've played around with that.
Yeah, I have.
It's in the web, so it's not as native, back to like our whole web versus app,
Yeah.
or my web versus app comment there, but it's really neat. And we'll be rolling that out. I think today it'll be quietly live on a few dApps, and then we'll do an official announcement and a broader rollout. Um, so we're super excited for that. And hopefully what we'd like to see in this flow is people landing on a dApp for the first time, logging in with Google, and then on-ramping and using it and seeing, is that a viable funnel? Like, do we have web app products on Solana and crypto today that you can go and acquire users and they will on-ramp crypto and start using it? I think the answer is yes. How many people will be interesting? So we're really excited to see that play out.
It seems like you guys are really in tune with the cutting edge of what you can do in browsers. And one of the coolest things I noticed about Tiplink's latest product is somehow you can create this modal to like sign transactions, seemingly like regardless of the context the user's in. Can you tell me a bit about how that works and what that is exactly? Like, what are you leveraging to do that?
Yeah. So I can only explain this at like a high level as I'm not an engineer, but
Mhm.
from the crude level, we're using iframes and pop-ups, and that modal you're seeing is an iframe that we embed into the site, and we get some browser security guarantees that neither the dApp or us can see the private key. And so it's actually stored locally, I believe, in that iframe.
Hmm.
And again, it's only on the client side, it's only in the user's browser. We can't see the key. The dApp can't see the key. We pushed this really hard because we were playing around with some of the other solutions. And I think the status quo prior to this was every time you signed with a web wallet, you would get kicked out into another tab, or you would get a pop-up. And we built this and we're like, this doesn't feel meaningful to ship. We had this live like 6 months ago. We were like looking around and it's like, well, Web3 Auth did this years ago.
Yeah.
It feels a little weak, or we're not giving it our all if we just ship this. And so we went back to the drawing board, pushed it further. And yeah, I would echo that comment of our team has definitely really dug into the security guarantees that you get from a browser. And we became very familiar with that. Seeing that most Solana dApps are just web apps, it seemed like there was a better way to be able to sign transactions. So that's super neat there. And if people have questions on that, we're always happy to chat more about that. And I can get you in touch with an actual engineer so I don't crudely explain it.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I didn't know that was possible. So it's one of those things where you watch the presentation and it's like, again, like I kind of brought this up before. It's one of those magic moments where I was like, wow, you can it like feels as seamless as, when you're on desktop with a Chrome extension, but it's on mobile. I think you guys are probably going to inspire a lot of teams to play around with what you can do with iframes and these embedded mobiles, uh, modals rather, on mobile. So that was super cool. And maybe you kind of hinted at this, but it seems like, the journey to bring this product to market, it was not linear. You guys seemed like very experimental, tried a lot of things, kind of came to some conclusions. Maybe this isn't the right thing to ship. Can you tell us a bit about the backstory here and how you got to this point as a team?
Yeah. I think we always knew we were going to need to build this feature just from users asking for it. We put it off for a while for other polishing reasons, mainly just seeing opportunity in payments, wanting to make our on and off ramp sleek. But it finally felt like the right time to spend some time building out the wallet adapter as we waited for some of these on and off ramps to get better. And we also just saw it as like a great growth avenue. We were looking at the Web3 auth stuff, so we knew it was at the very least possible of logging in with Google and signing transactions. And that was known for a while. We started to go down that route, and then we had a working demo similar to Web3 auth, and we went through like a handful of OtterSec cycles and cleaned that all up. And then we had a demo, and our CEO Ian was like, "Yeah, this is good, but like, can we get this better? The pop-ups not the greatest thing." And I think one thing about us is we'll typically try to drive a feature really hard. We'll QA things fairly decently. Obviously, bugs will slip through, but we pride ourselves in a lot of attention to detail. So while this wasn't going to be like a massive product, we still want to be a payments company. We kind of just went down the rabbit hole and we're like, wait, we can really solve this problem. We can do better than this. And ended up rewriting it, picking up this architecture that uses the iframe to sign. And I think this journey, I mean, one of our engineers probably started experimenting with this shortly after Breakpoint of last year. So we've been doing a lot of exploring R&D stuff on that front. And yeah, that's the journey. It got it live. And it paid off. It obviously, like, the market really liked this novel way of signing.
Yeah, it's been an impressive thing to watch. And I think a lot of people, kind of freaked out when they saw it, including me. So this has been super insightful into what I think is one of the most innovative wallet products, and the thing I call it enabling infra for consumer, where it's obviously not like a destination app, but it's a thing that people touch and use, and I think can enable new behaviors. So it's been really awesome to learn about that story. I guess kind of closing question. I know you might have touched on it a bit earlier, but what's next for Tiplink, and what should we look forward to as you guys continue to build amazing products?
Yeah, I think real short-term embedded wallet widget, cleaning up some much needed scalability things, supporting some of the token standards, Token 2022, core NFTs, catching up on some of that front. In the short term, you'll probably see like a handful more app rollouts with the wallet adapter. And then I think in the midterm, we're really focused on trying to build some disruptive payment products, things that rival with traditional payments. Not too much to share there, as we're still like speccing things out and figuring out what's viable, but we see some opportunity there and looking to turn on the gas, especially with all of these tools and seeing users come online in some of these interesting markets where stable coins are incredibly powerful through distribution tools like Tiplink Pro and our wallet adapter. So it'll be interesting to bring these all together and then continue to pour gas on the fire with our existing products and getting new people using the Tiplink wallet.
Super cool. And it's just kind of dawned on me, like, I guess why you guys went down this road, which is, and kind of paraphrasing what you just said, polishing up the embedded wallet product, which now I'm kind of realizing, because you guys focus so much on mobile web. It's a device agnostic paradigm. And now you start attacking these emerging markets. This will work seamlessly in pretty much the same way on any device, any mobile device, Android, iPhone, high end, low end. Then you can kind of enable these new behaviors and double down on the payment side and have what I think will be a pretty potent combo.
Yeah, we're super excited for it. That's the thesis. Now we just have to execute and see if it plays out. But it should be a fun year. It's a good time in the market. So we're really excited to keep going.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thanks so much for joining us and helping us learn a bit about Tiplink and its roadmap. Yeah, it's been a super fun conversation.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.